If you're selling your house, these are the top 10 things you should not have in your home when selling. Apologies in advance because number 10 may offend. The first thing you are not going to have in your home is personal photos. Also, those kids' names that are, stenciled above their beds. One reason for this is safety. There are a lot of kooks out in this world, a lot of scammers. The last thing you need is one of them looking at, photos online of your house and calling you up and saying, I've got Liam, give me $1 million. The other reason is we want to make it as easy as possible for buyers to imagine themselves living in your home. If you have photos of you and your family on every single surface throughout your home, it's going to distract buyers and really kind of get in the way of them falling in love with your home. For safety and practical reasons, let's just have those things removed. It's really important. I promise I'm not trying to scare you, but the second thing that you want to have out of your house are any valuables. Look, when your home gets listed on the multiple listing service, the MLS, it gets blasted out to the entire world. There are good guys and there are bad guys out there, but the bad guys are looking for opportunities. So when there is an open house or there is a showing, they're going to go directly to where they think that those valuable items are going to be kept in your home. I'm talking about Rolex watches, diamonds, expensive artwork. You don't want these items just, casually strewn about your house. If you have a safe and that safe is attached to your property, great. I would suggest put them in there. Maybe you never go a day without wearing your Rolex watch. Okay, fantastic. So we know where that's going to be. If you need to though, consider a safety deposit box down at the bank, or even, call up a family member in town and ask if you can leave your valuable items with them until your home is sold. Okay, number 3, and again, not to scare, but to educate and protect. Medications, specifically the kinds that are highly addictive, should be removed from your property. As you know, we have an addiction crisis here in the United States, and addicts will actually go to open houses. They will target medicine cabinets in hopes of making an easy score. But Grant, won't you be at the open house? Don't let any of those addicts in. My question for you is, what does an addict look like? The late Matthew Perry, yeah, that one, admitted he used to visit open houses and steal pills when he was addicted to prescription drugs. And more importantly than that, we have fair housing laws. My advice, put your medication in a small, easy to travel with bag. And whenever you leave the house and you know that you're gonna have showings later that day, or if there's an open house later in the afternoon, take that bag, take the medications with you. The fourth thing, and this is obvious, but it is easy to overlook, and I do see sellers making this mistake, we're not gonna leave any checkbooks, credit card statements, water bills, any personal documentation out in the open. Put them away. If your desk, has one of those little locks, or you have a file cabinet that has one of those locks, definitely keep those documents locked up. Now, the fifth thing is safes. Now, earlier I did recommend putting, your valuables, your jewelry into your safe, but I'm going to now recommend an extra step here, and that is to keep the safe covered. Maybe you have one of those big ones in your garage. I've had sellers who will use old cardboard boxes to conceal, where they're located. Maybe it's in your closet. Can we use some clothing or a laundry basket to conceal it? Wherever the safe is, cover it up. Don't draw attention to it. Keep it hidden from sight. I'm sure you understand the reason for that. A popular marketing item right now that sellers are creating with their home sellers is what we're calling a memory book. The memory book shares what the seller loved about living in the home, how great the street was for their kids, how wonderful the neighbors and the schools are. The goal is to, create that emotional connection with buyers that are coming through the property and get them to fall in love with your home. It's great in theory, and I can see how it could work, but you really should not be doing this. The definition of a great school is really going to vary from person to person. You may love your neighbors and they love you, but they may get into a dispute with whoever the new owner is. When you're selling a home, you have to be very careful with what you disclose and what you represent to a home buyer. You really should only be disclosing facts. My advice, leave the memory books out, leave out anything that is emotional. There's just too much liability, and really just stick to the facts. The seventh thing is you're going to leave out any signs of distress. What do I mean? I've seen this a lot with divorce situations. One spouse moves out and their side of the closet or their side of the vanity suddenly becomes empty. Potential buyers will come in for showings and they'll go, oh, look, the husband moved all of his stuff out of the closet, or, the wife's items are missing from her side of the sink. They're probably desperate. We can get a deal here. Let's lowball them. You don't want to give any desperation signs. So if this is you and you are going through a situation like this, my advice is to, spread your personal items out. Maybe take those, winter coats that are in storage in your garage and hang them up into your closet. Try to fill in some of that empty space over on the vanity. Maybe you're selling because you're going through a foreclosure. Of course, we want to keep any notices from the bank hidden and out of sight and try to make the home present in its best light. We simply just don't want any signs of distress if we can avoid it. Trust me on this one. It probably sounds crazy, but buyers will try to get any kind of leverage or take advantage of any situation that they think they can. The eighth thing that we are not going to have in your home when you're selling is those plastic runners or those plastic covers over your carpet. I know what you're thinking. You just installed those new carpets when you were preparing the home for sale. You want them to remain in fantastic condition for whoever the eventual buyer is. But hear me out. If someone comes through your home for a showing and they trip on that plastic covering, maybe their heel gets caught on it and they just go straight to the ground and break a hip, you could be liable. And as you can probably imagine, a lawsuit would really screw up the sale of your home. Remember, it is not going to be your home for much longer, and at the end of the day, it is much easier to deal with dirty carpets, which can be cleaned, than it is to put yourself into a high-risk situation like that. Some may say that this is a bit overboard, but I'd say it's just not worth it, especially when you're going to be moving soon anyways, and those carpets will not be your problem anymore. Before we get into the next one, I am a pet owner, and I have been for my entire life. Here is my beautiful daughter Zuma. She is a 5-year-old golden retriever. Fun fact, I love her almost as much as I love my human boys. You can probably guess where this is going. The ninth thing that you should not have on your property when you're selling your home are your pets. I want to be clear, I'm not suggesting that you give Biscuit and Brownie the boot until your home is sold. No. But what I am suggesting is that just like your medications, you pack up your fur babies and you take them with you when you know that you have showings for the day. I have toured countless properties with buyers when the dog is left in a crate in, one of the bedrooms, for example, and we have to literally shout at each other in order to be able to hear ourselves talking over the sound of that pup barking. Trust me, it just really ruins the entire showing. Another consideration is, do you want your pets home alone without you with a buyer or a buyer's agent? What if a buyer's agent, for example, lets your cat run out the front door? I have heard too many stories of that happening from my colleagues. What if your dog is terrified of children and it snaps at one of the buyer's kids that are coming through for the tour? Best practice, take them with you when you leave. I know it is a huge hassle, but it is a temporary hassle. And just remember the bigger picture here. We're trying to get you top dollar for your home in a reasonable amount of time. All right, the 10th thing that you should not have on your property when you're selling your home is you. I know that might offend some people, but in all seriousness, we do not want you home and present during showings and during open houses. It's not like I don't like you. In fact, I probably like you a lot, but you hired me to do a job, so let me do my job. Buyers are incredibly uncomfortable when the seller stays home for showings. And I get it. You as the seller might be thinking, no big deal. You can keep it neutral. You'll stay out of the way. You just want to be available to answer questions about the home or the property or the yard or the sprinklers. You want to tell the buyers, the history of the street and who the neighbors are. No, trust me, the buyers will feel pressure. They will feel uncomfortable. My job is to get these buyers to fall in love with your property, because if they do fall in love, they're going to write compelling offers at the price and the terms that you're looking for. All right, those are the top 10 things you should not have in your home when selling. Let me know down below in the comments which of the 10 caught your attention and why. My name is Grant Leichtfuss. I'm a Ventura resident and realtor. Let me know if you have any questions about the local real estate market or just the community at large. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.